Sharing our presenter here, Ryan. And Ryan, it looks like we're live. All right. So
Excellent.
excellent. All we're streaming right now. This event today. This is our first live stream with Capital Tech. We're going to be doing this ongoing now, and our purpose here to bring you experts in IT, cybersecurity, IT management, and everything that can make your business more effective and secure. So Ryan here is from our partner Field Effect, and I'm excited to do this show with us today. So it's a live, recorded live. We have 4 visitors for now, but people is going to be adding up, and let's just jump into it. I'm going to show. So we have our topic today is the rapid evolution of cybersecurity and what this means for you. And I had this idea from basically all the questions of people asking me and my clients right now. And so just a couple of things. Well, first, a little bit about myself, if people don't know about me. So I'm a founder and CEO of Capital Tech, and your host today with the Live with Capital Tech show. I'm the 40 Under 40 award winner by Ottawa Board of Trade and Ottawa Business Journal. And recently I received the City of Ottawa Immigrant Entrepreneur Award. And I've been running my business, Capital Tech, for 15 years, and we've been proactively protecting our clients. And our mission is to help organizations grow through evolution of technology. And this webinar today is really kind of aligns to this, which is important. We're going to be talking about evolution. A couple of things here. Small announcements. The session is being recorded. And we will be sending a recording to people who registered for the webinar. Please share this with people who you know, because this is important subjects that we're talking about. All your questions are welcome. So please, whether you on Facebook, LinkedIn, or StreamYard platform, you can ask a question. You can just put it in the comments. You do need to be registered and logged into Facebook so we can recognize who you are, your name, your nickname. And it's exciting. We're going to be doing a giveaway at the end of the call, and actually it's going to be we're going to be announcing it through social media. It's a banana phone. It's our cool accessory that we use at Capital Tech. It's actually a phone that you can use to make phone calls. So it's really cool. So without further ado, I'd like to really again emphasize of the why we're doing this webinar today is because my customers and prospects been asking a lot of questions related to cybersecurity, and I wanted to find I realized that the main questions are really the 6 questions, and we're going to be addressing those today with one of the industry leader, Ryan McBride. And with that, I'm going to bring the Ryan McBride to stage. Ryan, maybe say a couple of words about yourself.
Thanks, Sergey. Really appreciate it. Excited to be chatting today. Started with Field Effect 4 years ago. I've been working with organizations like yours for over 10 years, and am a cybersecurity expert here at Field Effect as our major partner sales lead for North America. Excited to be chatting today.
Fantastic. All right. So here is basically we're gonna jump right into it. We're gonna address 6 key questions that most of our clients and prospects are asking, and Ryan's gonna help me answer those. So let's just jump into the question number 1, which is how has cybersecurity changed? So tell me more about it.
Yeah, that's a really great question. The cybersecurity landscape has changed pretty substantially in the last 5 to 7 years. So 3 years ago, an event, or just over 3 years ago, an event that most people are familiar with, COVID, shifted the business landscape pretty substantially. So a lot of businesses had to adopt remote workers within their organization, and consequently, they had to make changes like open up different entry points into their business, maybe adopt new cloud services. And this also opened up new opportunities for cyber criminals to gain access to the environment. So that was one major change that's happened in the last sort of 3.5 to 4 years. A lot of new ways into a business, both enabling your workforce, but also enabling cyber criminals. And sort of over the last 5 to 7 years, there's been a substantial increase in the monetization of cyber attacks. So if you were to consider the cyber crime as an industry in terms of the GDP, the cyber crime industry is substantial. So behind the United States and China, cyber crime is the third biggest, could be considered the third biggest country in the context of GDP. So it's seen year over year growth consistently over the last 5 years to the point where it's quite substantial. So you've got both more ways into your business than ever before and more ways to like monetize a cyber attack than ever before, leading to this 600% increase in cybercrime since 2020.
Wow, this is crazy numbers. Thanks for this, Ryan. So maybe let's just jump into this one. And for all our visitors right now and people who are watching us, please don't hesitate to ask questions. Again, Ryan is one of the smartest cybersecurity experts I know. So if there's a question on the screen designated with you, please ask follow-up questions in our comments window. Thank you. All right, Ryan, let's just jump into the next one. So who's being targeted? So tell us about that. Is it the big companies, small companies? What's going on? Who are there? The bad guys are targeting right now.
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the last year, we saw 61% of small medium businesses be the target of cyber attacks. So cyber attacks are increasingly happening to small medium business, mainly because cyber bad guys are pretty much opportunistic. So they're going after for anyone they can. And we're seeing this, as I mentioned earlier, a major increase in the way that bad guys or cyber criminals can make money from an attack. And there's a whole bunch of different ways that they can do that. So 2/3, and in fact, 2/3 of cyber victims are attacked again within the next year. And that makes small, medium businesses really an attractive target. They don't always have the same means or resources to adapt to potential attacks in as quick a manner.
And how small you think the business, like, is it 1 employee, 5 employee, 10 employee? Like, what do you see as an example of the company?
Great question. Yeah, organizations anywhere from sort of as little as 10 to 15 people up to 250 people. Really common to see different types of cyber attacks. Not just organizations, but municipalities as well. You'd be shocked. Small municipalities, relatively small businesses, and anyone can really be attacked.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, this is eye-opening. We operate in a business that we support about 5 to 50 employees, and this has been opening because I started understanding that my customers are being attacked now. So thanks, Ryan, for this. Let's talk about the next question. So how are those cyber attacks being monetized? So this is a good question.
Yeah, this is a really good question. So a lot of people are familiar with ransomware attacks. So ransomware is kind of when your organization is held hostage by having all your systems locked up, so you can't use them, and then they're asking you for money, generally in the form of Bitcoin or some cryptocurrency. But there's a lot of ways now to make money from a cyber attack. So another really common way that we see organizations get hit are through a business email compromise and financial redirection. So many people receive phishing emails. Phishing email comes through, maybe they're asking for, they're pretending to be Microsoft and they're asking you to reset your username and password. So the user ends up giving their credentials away accidentally. They think they're resetting their password, but they're getting tricked into giving up their username and password, unfortunately. And then a cyber criminal has access to watch their email inbox. Now, what they'll tend to do is just sit in behind the scenes and watch emails coming through until there's a pending transaction happening. and then they'll pretend to be that user, that legitimate user, but provide fake bank information. And so that instead of that transaction occurring and the person they're doing business with sending it to the legitimate bank account, they end up sending it to a criminal's bank account. And then that becomes at that point a financial redirection where the money is being redirected somewhere else. Another way that we're seeing attacks be monetized is really data being sold on the dark web. So attackers don't even have to ransomware your systems or even indicate in any way they're present. They can simply get on your systems, find data, personal health information, personally identifiable information, credit card data, and sell it on the dark web and make money. And that's it. So there's a lot of ways now that cyber attacks can occur.
Thanks. So this is eye-opening as well, because most people think that, okay, ransomware only, but what can they? I don't have sensitive files, so I don't really need to be like if somebody's gonna if I get ransomware on my computer, like I don't really care. But those financial redirections example, I think this is a big one. We've seen customers having those right now. And data, again, I think those companies who sell data or buy data, they are the ones who are, encouraging hackers to sell them. So I never thought of that as well. So thanks for this. This was a good question. Now, again, just want to remind our audience that we're streaming live on 3 platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And you can always ask questions for us after the stream is over, and we can certainly answer those for you as well at a later time. But with that, Ryan, are you ready for the next one? So I'll get you another one. Okay. Am I too small to be target? I kind of almost ask you the same question, but maybe you can reiterate that. What's the minimum size of a business, or like how can we talk about what the smallest company?
Yeah, really, really good question. So here's the thing. Cyber criminals are, generally speaking, quite opportunistic. So the cyber criminal groups that are operating, you can really think about them in 3 groups, generally speaking. You've got a really sophisticated attacker or attack groups. They may be targeting large enterprise level organizations, and that's kind of at the top of the spectrum. At the bottom of the spectrum, you may have not very sophisticated attackers that are just generally trying to deploy malware, doing large spam campaigns. But in the middle group, which is a fairly large group, this is the group that tends to overlap with small, medium businesses often. Attackers are generally opportunistic, and what they will do is basically just scan the internet looking for weaknesses. So there are databases online that host information about any internet connected device that has vulnerabilities present. And so if they're familiar with exploiting a particular vulnerability or weakness, they can simply leverage this tool and scan the internet to find any presence whatsoever. So they aren't discriminating based on how big or small your business is, or where, like what your business does, or how much money your business makes. Mm-hmm. They're just looking for the presence of any weakness or vulnerability that they're familiar with exploiting, and then they're going after it. So they're really opportunistic, or they're going on the dark web, for instance, and just buying a list of email and passwords, or they're just buying a list of access to businesses, generally speaking. So they're opportunistic. They don't care if you're a big or small business or what it is that your business does necessarily. A lot of cyber criminals are just looking for low-hanging fruit, or what's the easiest way to make money off the attack with the least amount of work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Really important to know. All right. So a couple more questions. The next one is, what if I just risk the bridge? So tell me more about that.
Yeah. So sometimes businesses may think they're in a position where, hey, we don't have a lot of critical data, or maybe we've got backups, so we don't have to worry too much. We can just risk the breach, and no big deal. So there are some pretty substantial examples of organizations that have faced noteworthy breaches. And I'm sure many of us can think of a time where we've received an email from somebody who we've done business with at some point, and they're notifying us that there's been a breach and they've lost some data. So reputation damage can result in customer loss. And if you have a database that gets breached and your email addresses are stolen, or worse, bad guy starts emailing your clients or emailing customers, that can result in reputation damage. And certainly facing reputation damage can result in the loss of customers. And that isn't something that you would want to have happen. That's definitely a potential outcome of a breach. And additionally, lost revenue. So disruptions to your operations can result in downtime, and that downtime in cases can result in lost revenues, and that can also be a bad outcome of a breach. So there are definitely reasons why you would not want to just risk having a potential breach. Um, Oftentimes we see that the costs to small medium business can range pretty substantially afterwards, not just the rebuild costs, but the loss of business and things like that.
Wow, this is great. All right, so I think we have one more, and so I have cybersecurity insurance. Is that enough? I know it's a popular for me. I get lots of questions like that.
Yeah, so cyber insurance, interestingly, has the cost of cyber insurance has increased substantially as well year over
Hmm.
year. So initially, I think when cyber insurance had just started to become more of a popular thing, and in and around 2020, the insurance companies were paying out 70 cents on the dollar. There wasn't a great return for them. So they ended up increasing their minimums pretty substantially over time. And now the cost of cyber insurance is pretty substantial. Now, cyber insurance may cover you for rebuild costs, and they may cover you with some of those associated costs. But just as we mentioned, insurance isn't going to reimburse you for lost revenue. So, a good example that comes to mind is in Canada, we have a few unfortunate examples of municipalities getting hit with pretty substantial ransomware attacks.
Hmm.
And in 2021, the city of St. John, New Brunswick, suffered a pretty substantial attack. Now, to give you an idea of what disruptions to operations can cause from a revenue perspective, they weren't billing, for instance, parking for almost 2 years. They weren't collecting revenues as a municipality
Oh,
for parking for almost 2 years. So if you can put yourself if you can envision yourself in that type of a position as a business, and you weren't able to bill revenues for a month or a month and a half or 2 months because of some disruption to operations, and it impacted your ability to collect revenue, insurance isn't reimbursing you for that lost revenue. That's just coming right out of your nest egg, whatever you've accumulated. And insurance is going to help you with trying to rebuild. But if the rebuild takes you 30 days and you're not able to operate your business for that period of time, then you're suffering a loss still. And so there are all sorts of qualifiers as well that need to be in place that will impact the type of reimbursement you're going to get from cyber insurance. So you definitely don't want to put all your eggs in just the basket of relying on cyber insurance.
yeah.
It's definitely not the way that you want to go. Taking preventative measures and proactive measures so you don't have to go that direction in the first place is going to be the most cost-effective way of going about it.
But do you still, the cybersecurity insurance is still a good thing to have for businesses? I guess, like what's your thoughts on the whole
Yeah,
insurance thing?
that's a good question. So this does get debated internally at times. So there are some cases where you are required to have cyber insurance because you do business with organizations that ask you if you have cyber insurance as some means. And so there are going to be some cases where it's necessary. But if your primary investment from a defense perspective is cyber insurance, then there should be, you should be giving some consideration to that. Your primary defense against a cyber attack or cyber crime really should come in the form of, first and foremost, maximizing your detection capabilities via increased visibility. So you're really going to want to work with an expert, a managed security services provider like Capital Tech, and put in place a strong program that will prevent that from happening proactively. And cyber insurance will help you in the event that you do have to rebuild from an attack, and that if you have a provider who's validating the necessary steps like backups and restoration efforts can occur, that they've got proper defenses, then at that point, if you've got a good program in place, you can get a good premium on your cyber insurance, and they go hand in hand. But relying on it alone isn't necessarily going to be the best way forward.
Okay, great. Oh, this is good because again, lots of people asking me those same questions. All right, so I guess we can take a little break, and again, I want to remind the audience here is that we are going live. If you miss something, we can go back and watch it. We'll be sending out the recording for people who registered as well. I think we need, at this point, we need to ask the audience if there's any questions or comments. And I think I've seen something here, so let me look it up. Ryan, I know you've been talking a lot, so I'm going to get you more. All right, so I see one question, and I think I'll try to bring it to the screen. There you go. So what do hackers actually do with my data once they get it? Is it actually that bad? That's a good one.
Yeah, this is a good one. So cyber criminals are, sometimes when people think of cyber criminals, a lot of different words come to mind and different impressions of what a cyber criminal can do are out there. So not all cyber criminals have the same capability. Some may be good at creating malware, meaning they're developers. They have expertise in development. Some cyber criminals are good at network infrastructure and connectivity. Some cyber criminals are good at social engineering and creating good phishing campaigns. And so not all cyber criminals can do everything. So sometimes, so a lot of times, what they'll do is that in order to further an attack, they'll go to the dark web and purchase some data, for instance, that will help them start their attack or help them at some stage of their attack to further it. So you may have an organization or a cyber crime organization or cyber criminal who's good at creating a good phishing email that will trick a bunch of people to giving up the username and password. But they may not do anything else with that. They may just take that information and then list it on the dark web for sale because it's easy to make money on the dark web in terms of an attack. And so once your data gets on the dark web, any potential bad person, any cyber criminal can go on and buy that data for use in an attack. So then it may go to the hands of somebody who is really good at writing malware, sophisticated malware or ransomware. They'll take that information your data, and they'll use the data that they've been provided to start their stage of the attack. So the data just gets sold on the dark web to create another chain of events, another series of bad things that could potentially happen. So having some visibility into, hey, did my username and password get compromised to to my email or to some other area that I log in online is important. Having somebody who can validate that information for you via a dark web scan or something like that is an important resource to have, because once your data is sort of out there, then who knows who gets it next? Who knows who's going to get their hands on it next? And it can be a really bad thing. It can go to somebody who knows more than the average person, and then you certainly don't want your data to be in those hands.
Yeah, it's like a trafficking. You don't know where it's going to be end up, and when they're actually going to reveal that. Because yeah, so this is interesting. Thanks for those who ask this question, and I have one more here for you. I think it's going to be our last one because we're trying to get it in 30 minutes. So, what is the first thing I should do to make my cybersecurity better? That's a great closing question. So, talk about that.
Yeah, that is a great question. So being proactive when it comes to cybersecurity is critically important. One of the things that we've noticed sort of pre-COVID was a lot of organizations were taking a reactive approach. So they may just have, one means of defense, one layer of defense. Maybe they've just deployed AV or like an antivirus or something on their endpoints, and they've got a firewall in place. And that's kind of a reactive approach to cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is a pretty complex subject, and you can't be expected as an individual organization to take on that burden yourself. Being proactive means working with a organization that has a good program, that's well thought out, that's comprehensive, and is going to address weaknesses and vulnerabilities ahead of time before they can be exploited by a cyber criminal, and is going to have the capabilities to detect potential threats across every area of your business, not just endpoints, but your network, your cloud applications, all of these new areas that have been opened up since COVID. So really, the first thing you should do, improving detection capabilities, increasing your visibility, taking a proactive approach to addressing some of the weaknesses and vulnerabilities. Those are all, some of the most important steps, and a strong managed security service provider like Capital Tech is the place to start. You don't want to try and go it alone. You do want to work with somebody who has the ability to provide a comprehensive program and address things proactively for you.
Thanks, Ryan. So I think, yes, I know there's a lot of unknown terms here, like detection. How can I improve the detection? So I guess for this, we need to really, I like the Steve Jobs quote. He said that people sometimes don't know what they want until they see it. So probably the best option is to really understand those detection capabilities and maybe see them and have a demo with us. So with that, we have actually offer on this webinar for everybody who's watching, whether it's on recording or live. We will announce a couple of things here for you. So let me just get back to the presentation. Yeah, so I want us to see what else we have here. So a couple of takeaways first to start, and maybe Ryan, if we can just go through them. But I can also kind of come up with this. So cybersecurity is constantly changing, as we know. So this was the topic of today's webinar, is about how it's rapidly changed so far. And this problem is not going away, obviously. So there's more breaches every single day. The industry is growing. Ryan knows all the numbers, and I'm glad to have him on my team to understand, how this topic is important. We also know that the small and medium sizes are targets for cyber attacks. We know it's not just the large businesses. even the small, because again, we don't know where this the data is going to go. This may be used by somebody else. So the small businesses are definitely a target as well. The third takeaway here is that it's more cost effective to outsource cybersecurity to trusted experts than trying to solve it yourself. Obviously, I cannot invent all the cybersecurity protection tools, and that's why we partnered with somebody like Field Effect. And lastly, as I mentioned, we now offer this comprehensive cybersecurity coverage for everyone who needs it to keep their business secure. This applies to our new customers, existing customers. I'm excited to be able to sleep well at night, knowing that my clients are protected with the solutions like Field Effect provides. All right, thanks, Ryan. So I'm gonna also remind people that we're gonna have a cool takeaway giveaway today. Later today, because we're going to announce the winner on social media, because we're going to find who attended this webinar live. We're going to give away this cool looking banana phone. It really makes your day when you make calls on the banana phone rather than regular phone. And another thing, so this is our call. This is our really offer for 10 people who would like to book a demo and a security assessment that allows you to see how we can detect the security threats in your systems. We give away a $100 Visa gift card for 10 people who register first, and all you need to do is just go to the link book.capitaltech.ca, book.capitaltech.ca, and yeah, the first 10 people who books an appointment with me and Ryan to show you how we can detect and protect your business from cyber criminals. Yeah, this is a good little holiday bonus for you. So, Ryan, thanks so much for being with us. I really appreciate your time and your expertise. We're going to do more of these down the road. This was our first live kind of webinar event with Capital Tech. We're going to try to do it at least every 2 weeks, covering different topics that we're gathering from our clients and our prospects. So thank you again for your time with us. And I'm just going to check in with my team if there's anything else. No, I think we're good. Ryan, all good.
Right on. Thanks, Sergey. Appreciate it. Great chat today.
All right. See you later. Bye-bye.